Hey guys, welcome back to Honeycomb. My name is KO. If you are enjoying the content, please click the like button and subscribe. And then follow along on Instagram. I'm at KO Kosh on Instagram. Follow at Daily Drink Mag on Instagram and at Honeycomb Manila, which is this our studio in Double Dragon Plaza, Pasay City, the Philippines. All right, today we want to talk about blends and blends in coffee, what they are, how to do them yourself. To start with that, I want to kind of give a situationer to better understand how we got to where we are in the industry today. You see, in 2009, a gentleman by the name of James Hoffman, who most of you probably know, won the World Barista Championship serving a single origin coffee. Now, at the time, it's hard to imagine, but single origin coffees were not fashionable. Generally speaking, cafes were very much in search of consistency and a consistent service of coffee at a high quality more than they were concerned about the characteristics of any individual coffee. Now we have a very high premium on those things, but back then it really was all about searching for a consistent coffee to serve in a cafe. But in the last 2 years, we've kind of seen a good shift back to blends both in espresso and in pour over coffee. To better explain it, we're going to look at two coffees. Here we have a Brazil coffee and we have an Ethiopia coffee. We'll talk about the flavors in a bit. Probably the best way to understand what we're doing here is if you're at home and you buy 250 grams of a Brazil coffee and you buy 250 grams of an Ethiopia coffee, you can take 100 grams of each of them, blend them together, and now you have three options: 150 Brazil, 150 Ethiopia, and a blend of 200 grams of coffee. It's really that simple. So let's look at these coffees. We have a Brazil Cerrado roasted by the Good Cup. They're both roasted by the Good Cup. And the Good Cup is usually really good at giving their tasting notes on their labels. So we have here toffee, vanilla, chocolate, roasted walnut, buttery, which sounds very much like a homemade brownie. Now that is very characteristic of Brazil coffees, and those coffees very much taste like nuts and chocolate. Over here we have an Ethiopian coffee, and now Ethiopia is very much characterized by fruity, fruit-forward berry flavors in your coffees. A lot of people who just got into specialty coffee, or the first time that they taste specialty coffee, a smart barista will introduce them using something like an Ethiopia Yirgacheffe, which will taste like strawberries and blueberries and kind of have a mind-blowing single origin experience. In the case of this coffee, the Good Cup has said it tastes like bergamot, peach, dried mangosteen, and cacao nibs. So these are all very fruity, and then you have that cacao nibs right at the end. Both of them are medium roast. They're around the same color, and they're more or less the same size, but it doesn't matter that much because we're gonna be measuring them by their mass, right? So it doesn't matter what the density is, the weight will be the same, so there'll be the same amount of particles in them. Now, why did we select these two coffees? Well, this is a very straightforward, one of the easiest blends that you can do, and the flavor profile is right on point, meaning you can have chocolates and nuts and fruits, put them together, and you end up with a beautiful fruit and nut flavor in your coffee. And that's something really important to remember when you're putting together a blend, is that you don't want to put together flavors that are not complementary. You don't want to put together flavors that'll clash or won't work harmoniously together. And one of the ways to find harmony in flavor is to look to things that have existed over long periods of time, right? Raisin bread is like buttery bread and raisins, right? Fruit and nut chocolate, which is what we're gonna try and do today. If you're doing something that maybe has cola flavors, look to do something with lemon. I remember before there was a single origin coffee that I was cupping with one of my mentors, Slice Amonte. He asked me what I tasted. I told him it tastes like barbecue chicken. And he said, all right, break that apart. Okay, what goes into a barbecue chicken? There's some hickory wood, right? So like a sweet, smoky wood, tomato, and sugar, sweetness. And that's a really good way to approach how you're building something. So if you wanted to make a blend, I don't know why you would, but let's say you wanted to make a blend that tasted like barbecue chicken, you would go out, find a coffee that had a sweet tomato note to it, and then find a coffee that had a smoky woody note to it and put them together, and you would hopefully come up with barbecue chicken. You just need to kind of adjust the ratios. All right, so enough about that. Let's make the coffee. We've already dosed out here 100 grams of our Brazil and 100 grams of our Ethiopian coffee, and we're gonna mix them together. So what you'll need is your coffees, your receptacle, your container, and your scale. Now, have a relatively big container. You need a lot of headroom in the container. So in this case, this container will hold about maybe 600 grams of coffee comfortably. This will be enough space for us to be able to blend our coffee as well. The next thing you need is a scale. Always use a scale. Don't try to do this volumetrically. Well, I mean, you could try, right? But it won't be as effective because different coffees have different densities. If you have a coffee that is very dense, it might be small in size volumetrically, but have a lot of molecules, have a lot of mass inside. So we're going to take our coffee and we're going to dose it in. The first we have our Brazil Cerrado, and then we're going to take our Ethiopia coffee, put that in as well. All we're going to do is give it a nice stir. And this is pretty much it. That is how you blend coffees. If you want to get more exciting, you can close up the container and give it a nice roll like this. Make sure it's good and mixed. And then if your coffees are visually different enough from each other, you can just take a look at it and see, okay, that looks pretty blended. And that's it. That's really all there is to this. Now we have made our fruit and nut blend. So from having 2 coffees to choose from, now we have 3 coffees to choose from every day. And I actually usually recommend this. It's not a bad idea. What you can do is you can buy 2 different coffees, and then you can make adjustments based on the flavors that you get out. So let's say, for example, with our fruit and nut combination we're trying to do here, if it tastes a little bit too fruity and not nutty enough, just dial back the Ethiopia, right? Because you know your building blocks, you know what this tastes like, you know what this tastes like. If it tastes too acidic, then you can increase the amount of chocolate in it by adjusting the ratio. So if you did 100 grams, then you could go 80 grams and 120 grams of chocolate, and that would become a 60-40 ratio. You want a balanced flavor profile that has very good complexity. Now that you've blended it, let's taste it as an espresso. And so here's our coffee. Really nice crema on there. And wow, a lot of crema. Look at that. Juicy up front, chocolate in the back, fruity, and then chocolatey. So it's kind of the reverse of a fruit and nut. Like a fruit and nut, it's chocolate and then the fruit kind of comes out. This one's kind of in reverse. If I wanted to go more fruit and nut, I would increase the amount of Brazil in this coffee, but as it is, I like it. It's a coffee that I think does really well. Now in Honeycomb, when we like a blend, sorry, that was really juicy. Now in Honeycomb, when we really like a blend and we decide to put it on our bar full time, we call it daily coffee. So we call it daily coffee so that people have an idea of this is kind of the general profile that we're going for. And then we put a number so that you know, okay, it's a general profile, but you can expect it to be a little bit different. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's a bit chocolatey with a little bit more excitement. And generally speaking, that's what people want in their day-to-day coffee, and that's why we go with this. If you'd like to taste it, there are 2 ways to do it. You could come visit us here in Honeycomb. Coffees and espressos like this are free-flowing. They don't cost you any more money than your 75 pesos per hour that you spend to come and co-work with us. Or the other way is you can just head over to Good Cup, buy these coffees, and blend them yourselves. You're going to have the same result. So, what do you like in blended coffees? Have you tried blending yourself? Or did you blend after watching this video? Please do let me know in the comments down below or send me a DM on Instagram. Tag us in your stories. I'm at Keo Kosho. Follow and tag at Daily Drink Mag on Instagram, and follow and tag at Honeycomb Manila. All right, I wish you guys good luck. I wish you guys good health. I wish you guys some great coffee. Peace.